3.1c is about histograms and dot plots. So these are two visual representations of data. So a histogram is a graphical display of data using bars of different heights, just like in this picture, and they represent the frequency. So they represent how often something happens. So this data fell between 16 to 20 with a frequency, in other words, 50 times, okay? It's really similar to a bar chart, but we're going to use these ranges, so 1 to 5, 6 to 10. When 10 leaves off, it picks up from 11 to 15. And it's always going to be talking about that frequency, how often something is happening. Bar graphs and histograms. Visually, bar graphs have gaps. Whenever you draw a histogram, remember there are no gaps. Your bars should be right next to each other. Again, that's because as soon as one range leaves off, the next range is going to pick up. The other difference is bar graphs talk about categorical data, so the USA, India, UK, whereas again, histograms are going to have continuous data. They're going to be using those ranges. So histograms, we have special names for the different shapes. So this first one we call normal or symmetric, and that's because it follows this normal curve, right? So we can kind of draw this nice curve going through our data. Or symmetric, remember that means if we were to cut this in half, it'd be the same on the left side and the right side. When it's kind of random like this, we're going to call it clustered. Okay, there's really no pattern, it's just got clusters of lower data, clusters of higher data. Down at the bottom, most of our data is over here on the left, and then all of a sudden when we get to the right, this data skews. So we have these outliers that are affecting our data, okay? They're changing it. So that's another synonym for skew. So we would call this skewed to the right because our outliers, our skewed data is over here on the right. Over here, well, our skew is on the left. So we would call this skewed left. We want to be able to look at a histogram and answer some questions. So how many students total? To figure that out, we would look at each of these bars and figure out, well, what's their frequency? Well, 41 to 50, it looks like there are 3, right? 3 people fall within that range. So we would do that for each range. Okay, so we have 3, 5, 9, 12, 8, and 2. Well, to find the total, we add those up and we'll get 39 for our total. How many students scored between 81 and 90%? Well, here's our 81 to 90%, and it looks like 8 students scored in that range. So our answer would be 8. Question 3, what percent of students scored between 61 and 70? Well, 9 students out of 39 scored in that range. So to find this percent, we'd take 9, divide it by 39 to give us 23%. Where did the most students score? Well, we are looking at the highest bar, so right here, okay? 12 students scored within this range, and that range is 71 to 80. So we would say most students scored between 71 and 80. Last but not least, if you wanted to describe this shape, well, it's not perfect, but it kind of fits that normal curve. So we could call this normal or symmetric. Okay, very rarely when you're looking at real data like this will it perfectly fit that normal curve. But since it generally follows that shape, we can call it normal or symmetric. We also want to be able to make our own histogram. So the very first step is to use a frequency table. Okay, so we need to use equal intervals, right? So if we go back a page, they had these intervals 41 to 50, 51 to 60. So we want to start off by making our intervals. Our intervals looks like our lowest number of hours of TV was 0. Our highest number was 8. So our intervals need to go from 0 to 8. 0 to 8. If we want them to be equal, well, we could have 0 to 2, right? That'd be 0, 1, and 2. We could have, then it would pick up at 3 to 5. That's 3, 4, and 5. And last but not least, we'd have 6 to 8, 6, 7, and 8. So we have our equal intervals. And then we just need to go through and we need to say how often or figure out the frequency. Well, 3, we're just going to use tally marks. So we'd have a tally mark in the 3 to 5 range. 7, we'd have a tally mark in the 6 to 8 range. 4, another tally mark in the 3 to 5 range. 2, a tally mark in the 0 to 2 range, and so on and so forth. We'd keep doing this until we had crossed off all of these numbers. Okay, so right down here in this corner is our finished frequency table. It looks like 6 people fell in the 0 to 2 range, 4 people fell in the 3 to 5 range, and 6 people fell in the 6 to 8 range. So now we are ready for step 2. We want to label the vertical and horizontal axis. Okay, so the horizontal is going to be our intervals. Well, that would be our 0 to 2, our 3 to 5, and our 6 to 8. And our vertical axis is our frequency. Well, we just need to make sure that since 6 is our highest frequency, 6 is going to fit on this chart. And 6 will easily fit on the chart that we're using. So we are good to go. We also want to label these. So we're talking about the people watching TV and the hours of TV that they're watching. So we've chosen an appropriate scale. We've labeled our axes. So now we are ready to draw a bar for each interval. Okay, so graphing these is going to be a little bit different than how we graphed last unit. We just want to make sure that each interval takes up an equal amount of space on this graph. Okay, so notice how all of my intervals, they're taking up 3 squares. Okay, so I just needed to make sure that they fit on my graph and that again, they were all taking up an equal amount of space. Now that I've made sure of that, I can go ahead and start drawing my bars. Well, 0 to 2 starts way up here at 6, and then I'm going to shade it in. Okay, 3 to 5, well, that's a little bit lower, so that'd be here at 4, and then we'd shade that in. Last but not least, we have 6 to 8, that's way up here at 6 again, and we would shade that in. Notice how there are no gaps between my bars. As soon as one ends, the other picks up. Giving the histogram a title is our very last step. So we are talking about hours of TV people watched. Hours of TV. And that is our histogram. Interpreting data from histograms. So again, just more practice answering questions. This would be a good time to pause the video and see if you can answer some of these questions for yourself. How many students scored above a 70%? Well, here is 70%. It looks like 10 plus 8 plus 2 scored above a 70%, so that means 20 students. How many student scores are represented in the histogram? Well, that's just talking about the total. When we add all of those up, we're going to get 30 total students. Describing the shape of this distribution, well, I think it kind of follows that normal curve, so I'm going to call it normal or symmetric. Our price of cards, can we tell what the exact price of a deck of cards is from this histogram? No, we cannot, right? We can tell that, 2 stores had prices that were between $3 and $3.50, but we can't tell what those exact prices are. We don't know if they were $3, if they were $3.13. A histogram can't tell us that information. What price range was the most popular? Well, again, we're just looking at that tallest bar, so it looks like it was $1 to $1.50. $1 to $1.50 is our most popular price range. We're also going to talk about dot plots today. So a dot plot is a graphical display using dots, right? Normally we just use it for small numbers. You don't want to sit there drawing 150 dots. So this is describing the number of pets per student. Dot plot shapes, if it follows that curve, we still call it normal or symmetric. If it's uniform, so notice all of these columns are exactly the same, so they are uniform. Down here at the bottom, well, our skew is right here on the right, so that's our skewed right. And over here, our skew is on the left, so that's our skewed left. So those names are very similar to what we had for histograms. We want to be able to create a dot plot, so that's step 1 is to organize our data. Well, here's our organized data in order from least to greatest, okay? And we want to put it in a frequency table. So 2, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 2s. We've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 3s, 1, 2, 2 4s. There are no 5s in our data. There's 1 6 in our data, and there's 1 7 in our data. So this is our frequency table. Step 2, we wanted to draw a horizontal line. Well, we've got a horizontal line at the bottom. Step 3 was to title our display. Well, we titled it Numbers of Pets per Student. Okay. Step 4, we want to label our line with each value smallest to greatest. So we had 2 was our smallest, 7 was our greatest. So we labeled our line going from 2 to 7. Then step 5, we just want to plot our dots. So we're going to take a second here and plot our dots. You want to make sure your dots look really nice. So here's my 3 dots for 2. Notice how they're all the same size and they're in a nice vertical line. Okay, and then my dots for 3, I'm going to try and follow this horizontal line across. So here's again, my nice same shaped dots in a horizontal line. Right there, following that same horizontal line. And I'm trying to put them in a nice vertical line. 2 dots for 4. We had no data for 5, so we're just going to skip over that. And then we had 1 dot for 6 and 1 dot for 7. So this is our dot plot for the number of pets per student. This might be a good time to pause the video and try to answer these questions for yourself. So this is our same graph we just made about the numbers of pets per student. We want to ask ourselves, well, what is the maximum of this data? Well, the highest number is 7, so that is our maximum. 7 is the highest number of pets. What's the range? Well, that's 7 minus 2, our maximum minus our minimum, gives us a range of 5. Describe the shape of the distribution. Well, if we're looking, most of our data is over here, and then all of a sudden when we get to the right, it skews, so that's our skewed right. How many students have 4 pets? Well, here is 4. It looks like 2 students have 4 pets, so 2 students have 4 pets. What's the center or median of the data? Well, we're going to figure that out like we did earlier, right? So we're just going to cross off our dots. So here's 1, 2, 2, just kind of crossing them off until we get to that center. So it looks like our median is here at 3. So that's our median or center of our data. So these are our histograms and dot plots. Remember to answer the questions in the quiz and then submit when you are finished.